originating in Providence, Rhode Island. Thanks for listening. It's well appreciated on this Tuesday. We are USA Radio News.
I tend to second-guess dinners with friends because they're often interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit Creon.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREON.com.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, less proof, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
It's bow time. Ever taste something so good you just get hooked? Like the Bojangler, the only fish sandwich splashed with Bo's famous seasoning. So we're having a fish fry, Bojangle style, spicing up premium fish fillets with the good stuff and slathering them with melty cheese and tangy tartar sauce to hook your taste buds with just one bite. Reel in a Bojangler today, only at Bojangles.
Catch the Bojangler at 4828 Southwest College Road here in Ocala.
You're getting ready to move and you work hard. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. You need pros. Trained professional moving experts to do the heavy lifting for you. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. They care about your things as much as you do, and they do it fast and right. That's why you call Two Men in a Truck, 352-289-0666. Visit twomeninatruck.com and get moving.
2 Men in a Truck.
Nobody does spring planting like Rural King, and nobody beats our prices on farm and home favorites, like our own lawn and garden batteries for just $19.99, or 1 cubic foot bags of all-purpose topsoil, just $1.89 a piece, and everything looks better with fresh mulch. Get 2 cubic foot bags in cypress, red, brown, or black, just $2.49 a piece. Stock up today at ruralking.com or your neighborhood Rural King, America's farm and home store.
By now, all of Central Florida knows that at Bob Wines, you always buy one tree at his super low price, and you get a second one just like it for half price. That means you get a large tree up to 6 feet tall for less than $40. You get a second one just like it for $20. You walk out with 2 nice trees for less than $60. Almost unbelievable. You got to come see for yourself. And while you're there, check the BOGOs on bush daisies, Confederate jasmine, plumbago, purslane, and many more. Got a garden question? Bring your photos. We can fix it. This is the week for big bargains at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens. So come on out and walk this 5-acre garden. They're open 9 to 4:30 daily, Saturdays till 3 on Southeast 38th Street in Ocala. Soon to be celebrating 70 years in the same blooming location. We'll see you there this week at Bob Wine's Camellia Garden.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to Ocala Talk. Coming up at 8:50, we're going to have a Melinda Emerson. She's the small biz lady. We're going to have her on the radio. But right now, I want to ask, I got my new intern is in the building, Natalie. Good morning.
Good morning, Tom. How are you?
Good, good. I want to ask you, where were you, if you remember, and then I'll tell you Where were you? Do you remember where you were April 19th, 1995? About 10 o'clock, 9:45, 10 o'clock in the morning.
1995. I was probably in school.
April 19th, 1995.
I was probably in.
That was what was that? 25.
Middle
What was
school.
that? 20, 25, 27 years ago.
God, it's been a long time. Yeah, middle school.
Yeah. So you might not remember this as well as I do. On this day, about 9:02 in the morning, about 30 minutes from now, well, a little less than that, about 25 minutes from now, a rented Ryder moving truck exploded, taking off the front of the Murrow Federal Building in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma,
I do.
causing one of the biggest mass murders at the time, but before pre-9/11. And that happened. Timothy McVeigh, a former Army veteran, former military veteran, parked the truck in front of the Murrow building and walked away.
Yeah, I remember that. I didn't remember the specific details, but I do remember the Oklahoma City bombing.
April 19th, 1995. It just shows how quick we forget when things happen. Because, I think over, 187 people died in that, somewhere around there. A lot of them were children because there was a daycare center in the ground floor of that building.
Yep.
That were taking care of a lot of the people that worked in that building's children were in there, and they died. Just to me, we could always see. I don't understand terrorist attacks from foreign countries or foreign entities. I don't understand how you could ever just say I want to go mass murder 3,000 people like they did with the World Trade Center.
Right.
But I understand that because there are people ideologically wise that don't agree with the United States, I could see how you would have a madman that could do that.
Yeah.
Timothy McVeigh was an American.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Timothy McVeigh was born and raised here. He wasn't ideologically, religiously different from the United States or anything. He was an American, served in the Army.
Yeah.
But he was a man of insanity, obviously, that had been angered by the way that David Koresh and the folks in Waco, Texas, had been dealt with by the FBI. That was the catalyst behind this whole thing.
I did not remember that part.
The catalyst behind it was it was a revenge, almost a revenge thing that's why it was the federal building where the FBI was located and everything. How dare you to the United States government for what they had done to David Koresh and the Branch Davidians in Waco, Texas.
The thing that gets me about those is, you can be mad at the federal government, but I mean, you killed a bunch of kids, people that had nothing to do with, the situation that you were upset about in the first place. So, obviously, these people, there's something mental going on that's not right, but still, it just seems it's just a horrible thing to happen. Doesn't make any sense to.
And it happened April 19th of 1993. The Branch Davidians, David Koresh, the Branch Davidians had the FBI went to arrest them exactly 2 years prior to this bombing.
Yeah.
It was on the anniversary of the Waco, Texas tragedy. If you remember the Waco, Texas tragedy, David Koresh was a cult leader who had convinced his congregation that the federal government was coming to get him, and he was the Messiah, and they were coming to get him, and the only way to take up arms against the federal government. And then Janet Reno ordered them in, and they ended up busted into using machinery to bust down a wall. And they found out when they did that, the place had been set on fire by the Branch Davidians on the inside.
Yeah.
That they weren't going to be taken. So that was, and children died that day. A lot of children died that day at that compound. So the Murrah building, the bombing of the Murrah building was a retaliation, according to Timothy McVeigh's brain,
right,
for what had happened in Waco, Texas. And it was one of those shocking moments when you're like, how can an American do this to America. It was one of those sobering moments where you realize the world wasn't all peaches and sugar like sometimes you thought it was.
Of course.
Long before there was a 9/11.
Yeah, and that was probably, I mean, if I,
It was
again,
6
I was
years
young.
before 9/11, yeah.
It was one of the biggest tragedies before 9/11.
Oh, it was,
Yeah.
without a doubt. It was one of the biggest terrorist attacks, and it was domestic terror, homegrown terror.
Right, yeah.
It was one of the biggest terrorist attacks like that in U.S. history.
Yeah.
So it just people forget about the Murrah building bombing unless you were directly affected by it, or you lived in Oklahoma, or you knew somebody that was in the building or something. A lot of people don't remember it the same way that they remember the people who were lost on 9/11, and they should.
Oh, they should. Yeah, I think that we just tend to one tragedy, unfortunately, gets replaced by a much a bigger tragedy. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but 9/11, we lost even more people.
And now, I think now, like with the subway shooting that just happened.
Yeah.
And you're going to find this guy was criminally insane, and he's going to, something's going to come out about the woke movement, and he was tired. You see some of his rantings on TV and everything, and you see the mass shootings that happened at House Party this week in South Carolina or in Pittsburgh, and you see the Sandy Hook shooting that happened up in Connecticut, or you see the shooting that happened down in South Florida at the high school.
Yep.
It's almost like it's the new normal. We talk about the new normal being coming out of the pandemic and all. The new normal is, unless you kill, unless there's another World Trade Center, I think we're kind of, it doesn't catch us by that big a surprise.
No, I mean, unfortunately, I think we get slightly numbed.
Right.
To all of it, and it's unfortunate,
It is, and it started with the Murrah building.
Yeah.
With this bombing in 1995, April 19th of 95, where hundreds of people lost their lives, children in a daycare center lost their lives, and it was a vengeful act trying to revenge the Waco tragedy that the federal government did perpetrate. The FBI went in guns a-blazing with children and women and everything, but the Branch Davidians share some responsibility there too. So on a day like today, people seem to forget the tragedy that happened in Oklahoma City because of the tragedy that happened in New York City. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew today is just as important to those who lost loved ones, and should be just as important to all Americans as the 9/11 tragedy, because both times senseless acts of terrorism took American lives.
Absolutely.
And so just wanted to remind you all to say a special prayer or something for the ones lost today. 95 to now is 27 years ago today was the tragedy at the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this. 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. This is WOCA, The Source.
Howdy, folks. RL here for Dairy Queen again to tell you about what's hot and what's not. Dairy Queen has some of the best char-grilled chicken breasts on earth, as well as their chicken breast salad. And the burgers are exceptional, cooked on a real grill for the best flavor and less fat. And for dessert, blizzards are unequaled. Personally, banana split is my all-time